Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Gyis Tsakalakis, who is the co-founder of AttorneySync. Gyis, welcome to the program.
Mike, thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, I always love talking to people that are in the industry, and we're talking about, how to lead people or how to grow your firm or how to market or all these critical things that any entrepreneur or business owner or attorney law firm needs. So I'm looking forward to learning from you, but give us a little bit of your background and then what led you to start AttorneySync.
Sure thing. So thanks again for having me.
Sure.
My short little spiel is I went to college thinking that I was going to be a computer science major. I went to the University of Michigan, and this was in the late 90s. And the web and computer programming looked a lot different back then than it does today. And I wasn't really that into sitting in a dark room writing C programming. And so I quickly had to pick a new major. And philosophy, very practical major, but I loved my philosophy education, wouldn't trade it in for anything. That led me to law school, practiced law for a few years. I'm still a licensed attorney. But then in 2008, kind of as I was a young attorney and starting to ask questions about client development and marketing, started to realize that there was an opportunity here to serve lawyers better. And so we founded an agency, my partner and I, that was a friend of mine from undergrad. Founded AttorneySync in 2008, and we've been doing marketing services, mostly digital, kind of soup to nuts, websites, search marketing is our real forte, social, since then. And we've just been really, it's been a great journey thus far, great entrepreneurial ride, and we just really like to help lawyers improve their marketing and their business.
And I get this a lot because I connect and network and interview attorneys, same way with chiropractors as an example. But you go to chiropractor school, you go to law school, and I'm sure, I've never been to law school, but I'm confident that you have about 9 semesters of how to grow your marketing firm, right? And how to market. No, you have like 9 paragraphs in one chapter of a book, and it's just you come out and probably the intention is go work for a firm, and that's great. But there's a lot of people that have entrepreneurial inklings, and they want to start their own firm. So what in the world do you do? So I think it's really neat that you come from both sides of the equation going, I am one of you as an attorney. I know that this is needed, and let's talk marketing and what about local and search engine optimization and all of those things. So at what point did that crop up to you to go, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to darn well teach myself, and then I'll bet you there's some other people that need it as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was my first year out, and as a young associate at my firm, I was tasked with going and exploring, like, what could we do? This is like 2005, and so, this kind of the web as we know it had a good 5-7 years under its belt, and it's obviously really evolved since then. But, I kind of realized, there was a great vacuum there for leadership in terms of advising these lawyers. Like you said, back then in law school, I think law schools are getting better, so we got to give them a little bit of credit. But, I think 9 paragraphs of business was probably even generous back when I went to law school. And so, that's kind of how I got the start. And it was, there's an opportunity here for a lot more improvement in advising and helping lawyers understand how to use web and the technologies to develop more clients.
And when you start getting results, you can speak to and point to results and say, look at this, and I can help you with the same thing. But the problem is red ocean, blue ocean, SEO and local marketing and any kind of marketing, social media is so red ocean because everybody and their brother says they can do it, and people from all over the world email and call, and we can do it cheaper and faster and better. So tell me a little bit about what sets you apart, and I would suspect that you've got, leverage galore over most competitors, because most competitors can't even spell SEO, but they don't have a degree in, a law degree, and you know the industry, you know what they need, and you're one of them. So I think that really brings some credibility to what you would offer over and above results and case studies, right?
Yeah, and I think that it's a really good point. And legal is unique in that, lawyers are governed by rules of professional conduct, and that's on a state-by-state basis, even though the ABA, the American Bar Association, puts out model rules. Not every state follows them exactly to the T. So the point is that a lot of our competition, makes suggestions that, frankly, don't follow the rules of professional conduct, and you see lawyers getting in trouble. So that's one thing that I think that we have that's valuable for us in terms of advising our clients. But like you had mentioned, everybody's an expert, right? So the difference with us, or at least our unique selling propositions, are our three uniques that we focus on. Are one, we do everything month to month, so we don't have a lot of our competitors do long-term contracts, and so we said, hey, look, let's turn that on its head and say we're accountable every single month for demonstrating the value of what we're doing. Two, we offer exclusivity, which is, I think that's a big one. Anybody that's working with a marketing person, I don't understand how you could work with somebody that's responsible for growing your business who's also working with your competition down the street. That just seems like an inherent conflict to us. And then three is really this idea of custom. So many marketing companies give you these packages, right? Bronze, silver, gold package with different pricing. And I get the pricing theory behind that. But the problem is that firms, at least the firms that we work with, are so unique. They have different P&Ls. They have different goals. They have different objectives. And so we really build our strategies and our consulting around the specific objectives of our clients. So those are kind of the three. I think that is a general proposition. I know you're on this, and I actually listened to your episode with David C. Baker, who I'm a big fan of as well.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Yeah, and so positioning, it's go deep on the positioning. That's one thing that we talk to our clients and really have made that a point for ourselves is like, what is it? And that's what marketing is. Why should they choose you? What do you do different? Yeah. What helps you stand out? Anyway, so I'll stop rambling.
I think we can go super, super deep, and I know that you and I are aligned in what we do and talk about, so it's so cool to talk about this. But let me throw another author or book out to you. Have you read Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller?
I have not, but I love getting book recommendations.
Okay, you need to get that one. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And this, it's a wonderful book, quick read, well written. He's a top trainer and author, and they have workshops on how to really storify your business. And the whole concept is, he gives you this framework of, it's not once upon a time story, but it's like, okay, our people that are prospects that are looking at buying our thing or our service, they want to be guided through this process. And he takes you through this whole thing like, you as the business owner or the entrepreneur are not the hero. You feel like, I'm so great, let me show you how good I do. But the client, the prospect, so your law firms that you work with, they are the hero, you're the guide. So they are Luke Skywalker, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi or Yoda, guiding them through all of these ups and downs, and at the end they end up with success because you guided them. I like to say it as I'm not the sage on the stage, I'm the guide on the side. But the point I was making with that book is he says over and over and over again, many times your competitive advantage is clarity, because when you confuse, you lose. And there's so many marketing firms, let's say, that are SEO or social or this, and you go to their website and it's like you do 437 types of marketing, and I don't even know really what you do and how you next. And so, when you confuse someone's brain, it just is so off-putting to them, so they move on. Whereas you're like, oh, and I can do all of these things. Look at that. Be really, really clear. So if you were to say to a law firm, here's where we really excel and where we stand out, what is your focus? What is the thing that a law firm would go, we need help with this, and Gyis is the one to call?
Yeah, that's exactly I'm already sold on this book, so I can't wait to read. Thank you for that.
I'm going to call Donald Miller and say, give me a 4 penny referral.
Yeah, you should get a commission there. Yeah. and that's such a big part of our process is doing the intake to really listen to what the firm needs. And so, at a 30,000 foot view, lawyers hire us to grow their client base and to make more money, to increase revenue, to generate more leads for them, qualified leads, to help them build referral partnerships. And so, and it's funny because I say that, and it's like, that's really, to me, what all marketing is all about. But like you said, so much of it is we get focused on these indirect metrics like, links or rankings in the SEO context or followers in the social media context. And who cares? At the end of the day, if we can't connect our efforts to a specific value for your practice or helping you meet a business objective, it doesn't really matter. All that other stuff is just noise.
Yes. Yeah, that is huge. Really, really big piece. Because noise. And there's old, psychologists, social psychologists that are out there that have said in years past, I mean, this is from the 50s and 60s, people will narrow down their choices to the ones that are easiest to find and that are perceived as on top. So when you are seen as that credible firm, and that's kind of getting back to what you were just saying, but if someone looks at your firm and goes, oh, you need to call Gyis, here's his email address, whatever at AOL.com. Really? He's really cutting edge, isn't he? Or let's go look at his website. Oh, it looks like Craigslist? Really? So I think that perception of your brand is so huge because it pre-frames your expertise. You could be wonderful and know everything about everything, but if you are not respected in the community, like in your case, you've got a law degree and your website looks great and your email address is legitimate. So talk a little bit about how law firms should be viewed so that when they are seen online or social media, that's congruent with what they offer their clients, and then that makes the marketing work that much better.
Absolutely. That's exactly why we recommend everybody use the prodigy.net email address. If you remember Prodigy from way back when. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
It's such a good point. Yeah, well, and I'm going to narrow it down to the context of something that I'm always preaching to lawyers. And I listened to your episode with you had my friend Stephanie from Lawyerist on, and she made some great points too. And it's really in the same vein as that is, you've got people still, even with all of the ways that we can do research and ask for referrals for lawyers and ask for questions, at the end of the day, we still go to people that we know, like, or trust, especially in the context of hiring a lawyer. And so I tell lawyers this all the time is the biggest difference is that now when people are actually, whether they get your name because a friend or a family member or a professional service provider made a referral, they're going to go look you up online. And what they find is going to form an impression in their mind. And oftentimes that first impression is going to be on Google My Business because they search Google. And if you have a Google My Business profile, you're going to be able to position yourself with images, videos, information about your business, client reviews, and that is going to be one of the most compelling places to be able to really start to demonstrate your expertise. To I can't tell people enough about video because the written word's great. It's still very valuable. It's still really important. Not everybody, even lawyers, are great writers. And people, your next clients in the legal context, they really want to get a sense of what it's like to work with you. Like, are you a jerk? Are you going to be responsive? And Google My Business is a great place to start engaging your audience and communicating. And the best part is it's completely free. All you got to do is spend the time to actually go set up your profile.
And I'm not an expert in the 3-pack, which used to be the 6-pack, and all of that. Yep. I know enough to speak to it, but I want to ask this question. You mentioned video, you mentioned Google My Business, and free. Well, isn't inside of Google My Business a link to your YouTube account as well, so you can add your YouTube videos to your Google My Business?
Yeah, the short answer is yep. You can definitely link YouTube videos. But even so, there's a couple ways you can do video in Google My Business. You can upload video directly into your Google My Business profile. You can also use posts to link to a YouTube video. And so, I'm of the mindset like go where your audience is. We know that Google owns YouTube, and so Google gives a lot of preferential treatment to YouTube videos in their search results.
That's where I was going.
So I'm a big fan of YouTube. Yeah, definitely.
And so, we could probably do a masterclass and 4 hours on this one point alone, which is this. If you have the time and if you discipline yourself, which you should do some semblance of this, but get some videos out and don't just go, look at our office and here's our conference room. It needs to be teaching videos from the perspective of being that educator and advocate for your target audience, and specificity, right? So clarity. So like, hey, guys, here's the Louisville, Kentucky, personal injury attorney update tip of the day. You need to make sure that blah, 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 whatever the case is. And you need to make sure that your name, your firm name, your location are in the title. You need to have tags. You need to have it in the description. You need to have all of those things, because yes, people can find it on YouTube, and yes, you can link it or do a posting in Google My Business, which is helpful because that's like internally connecting all that together. But the most important thing is when people then go to Google, they're looking for your services. They're typically not going to go right to the ad that's at the top. They know people are, shooting for, paying money to get that spot. They're going to glance over page 1 and go, oh, here's that website. Here's that website. What's that video? I'm going to check this video out, and that was a really good point that person made. They look amiable. It looks like I can trust them. I'm going to click on their website. Then if your website looks halfway decent, good, then they're going to go, they're offering a free checklist of this. I'm going to download that. And then that slow breadcrumb trail starts to develop and draw people to your firm. But it all starts with what people are seeing online. And it should not be every video you do, shouldn't be you walking in the park with your iPhone. It needs to be some decent, now not full production value. It just needs to be, decent teaching moment. So speak a little bit about how that ties into then what you're doing for clients with your online local marketing.
Yes, I mean, I'm going to use the example that you used from the book is, be Obi-Wan Kenobi, right?
Yeah.
Be Obi-Wan Kenobi in your videos. And the way that we help is we can help, do the research, so understanding the audience, what they're searching for, using tools like Search Console. There's a variety of tools, but understanding the language that people are searching for in your local area so we can help advise you on content creation and support that. We do a lot of the technical heavy lifting too, so speeding up your website, making sure that the meta information is properly implemented. And of course, the biggest thing, and for the SEO folks that are listening, it's really about acquiring these local links, in my opinion. I'm a big believer in acquiring local links. And so people focus way too much on getting links from things based on domain authority or something like that. Get out in your local community, do speaking at local schools, start building relationships with local reporters, get covered in your local press. And those are going to be ways that you can attract these links back to your website. Anyway, it's what we do. It's really digital PR. We just help the lawyers kind of connect those dots and help them position themselves. That's ultimately it.
Yeah, that's huge. Hey, let's shift gears and go over into what we're dealing with now, which at the time of this recording is we're dealing with COVID, which is forcing people to do things virtually. But you have been and are a remote first agency. Speak a little bit about remote and virtual and how that should be implemented now and moving forward for law firms.
Yeah, this is a huge issue we've been talking a lot to our clients about. And really for me, it's funny because a lot of the situation we're in right now is just an acceleration of trends that we already saw coming. I mean, we knew that more people were moving remote. We knew that people were spending more time on their devices and connecting on devices. And this has been a force multiplier and accelerating that movement. And so we're very grateful. We moved to a remote first, as you mentioned, culture years ago. And I really think that's what I'd like to impress upon people is that it's not as simple as just signing up for Zoom. It is a cultural change in your practice and a cultural change with your relationship with clients. And so number one priority, if you're listening to this and you're dealing with these issues right now, is figure out how to deliver your services virtually. Because if these firms that are throwing up their hands and saying, we're stuck, we can't talk to clients, we can't do depositions, we can't get paid, unless there's physical interaction, like you're closed right now. So solve that problem first. But it's really it's a bigger conversation about how do you change the culture, because we ran into a lot of the pitfalls. Common pitfalls are trying to do like hybrids where you've got some people that are co-located, some people are remote. It changes the entire dynamic. And one thing that you had brought up when we were preparing for this show, I think is a really good point too, is that if there's going to be a balance here, right? We're not going to just we can already see the op-eds about Zoom fatigue, right? People are not going to want to do everything virtually. It's not the same. Our brains, you can get into like mirror neurons and all this stuff. We need that physical connection, that physical proximity, but there's going to be a balance there. And so it's kind of navigating that balance and finding what works best for, like you said, put the client as the hero. What is most convenient for them? What is the best service delivery vehicle for them?
Because when you were talking about your pricing, it's not one package or two packages or take your choice. It starts with like, well, here's what our typical packages are. Let's mix and match and make it custom for you. Well, same with what we're talking about here. It should not be 100% one way or 100% the other. And when we come through this, there's going to be remnants of the virtualness that people, because there's going to be people that say, I just have to sit face to face with you. Good, come on down. Everything's lifted. But I remember, and I'm 52, and I remember back in the day when banking went, oh my word, online? Are you kidding me? You can do bank trade. The whole banking industry is going to shut down. No one's going to come to the branches. No. Even back then they were like, no, it's going to, impact it, but it's not going to make it disappear. So going virtual is not going to crush the other aspect. But I'll tell you this, from a marketing standpoint, and this is where I want to ask you from your marketing mind, I have said for years that sometimes the best marketing is a job well done. So when you make it easy for people to do business with you and you deliver the results and you make it simple and you don't make them jump through 19 hoops. So if going virtual or having options for virtual helps you deliver, it helps you conduct the transaction easier, sometimes that makes it so much easier to retain them longer term as a client and get referrals. And that's called marketing, but you never ran an ad or did anything. That's just helping facilitate what you're doing.
100%. And, it's a great point. We talk to lawyers about this all the time, especially if you're a newer lawyer and you don't have, 500 years of experience under your belt. How can you create a competitive advantage over a more experienced lawyer? And some of it is service delivery, right? So young, newer lawyers, they tend to be able to do things to reduce that friction, and it plays out in the client testimonials. I mean, a great testimonial doesn't necessarily need to be subject matter dependent. Not people aren't excited to go write that, hey, thank you so much for getting me off of my DUI. But what they might be willing to write about is, thank you for being available to answer all my calls. Thank you for taking the time to hop on a virtual meeting with me. Thank you for making it so easy for me to sign documents with e-signature. I didn't have to come to the office. I loved all that. And guess what? Your next clients see that and they're like, that's the lawyer I want to hire. Yeah.
And here's the other thing. The fact that they know that you're down the road and you can come in for an in-person thing, that's kind of like their little safety blanket, like, okay, that's pretty cool. I know that they're, not halfway across the world and just doling out advice. But the fact that I see them down the street and I can do this virtually and on Zoom, that makes it that much better. So I think that is just really a spectacular thing we need to keep in mind, is keeping our competitive advantage focused on the customer, delivering great results, making it easy for them to do business with them. And like the great marketing author Seth Godin says, be remarkable, which is doing things that are worthy of being remarked about. And sometimes that is making that custom package or making your interactions with the client that much easier. So any final thoughts, or what is it, or can you give us the best way to reach out, connect with you? Do you have any, offers or packages that you want to spotlight, and how can people reach out and connect with you, Key?
Sure thing, Mike. Really appreciate it. Again, thanks so much for having me. Really enjoyed our time here today. People can go to AttorneySync.com. We offer free website audits. I also encourage people, obviously I'm biased here, but check out our Clienting podcast and our Lunch Hour Legal Marketing podcast on the Legal Talk Network. And I'm very active on Twitter at Gyis Tsakalakis. I know it's long, but at GY. If you start typing at GYI, usually it comes up.
Yeah, it'll probably be you.
And I love talking shop. So please bug me. It's a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun talking with you today, Mike.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.